Before we start, I'm not a mechanic, so don't take everything I say as the total right way. Be careful when working on your own cars. You'll need a specialist spring compressor tool for Mercedes Benz cars. You can find them on eBay for around £50 or £60. I'll put a full tool list in the description box. Ideally, you should be changing the bolts as well for new, but I didn't have these at the time. Hi guys, how are we doing? So today we're doing the lower control arms on the Mercedes on the front. And as you can see, this is the one I've just done on the driver's side, and that is pretty shot. So here is the new one. No problems there, brand new. Nice new ball joint under there. First thing is wheel off. The best jack in the world. And this is for you, Malcolm. Oh wait, no, that wasn't Malcolm. I'm sorry, Malcolm. Some dude on TikTok was really impressed. I slide the wheel under the sill. Remember to chock your wheels as well. The handbrake's obviously on. Do you know what I did on the other side? I actually took off all of the dirt on the inside of the arch here, washed it all, and I sprayed it with some of this, some Dinitrol stone chip protection. And it's ideal because you can just make it look really nice and they're all black, look all fresh, and know that you're being protected from all of the grime on the road. It's quite easy to see just why you need to do this. Every now and again, just give your undercarriage a bit of a spruce. That sounds so strange. Just give your undercarriage a bit of a clean. That still sounds weird. Of course, I'll be able to get in behind there as well as soon as the spring's out, because I've got to take the spring out for this job. So guys, when you first get under here, the first thing you want to do is take off this, which is the anti-roll bar, or the sway bar if you're from America. All it is these two nuts on these bolts here. Oh, I am literally terrible. I keep forgetting to put the axle stands under there. As per the last video, axle stands are very important. I believe these are 13mm. Oh yeah, very nice. Careful with the anti-roll bar as it is under tension. I read up about this job and it said this was how to do it, but there may be safer ways to remove it. And then what I ended up doing was just getting a little pick. There we go. And this one just needs to come out. A metal bar is like a must-have tool. The only thing is you've got to watch out for your arches, because obviously you can, ouch, like I literally just did, hit them. Oh, one thing I probably should have said, I've done it now, but one thing I should have said was have a jack, a trolley jack, ideally underneath the lower control arm when you do that. Yeah, I probably should have said that before. And this is where the spring compressors come into it that we talked about earlier, because they need to go the highest you can get it up and the bottom rung. Then what you do is you feed the tube up through the middle here, straight up through there, and it will then pull it all together and compress the spring. Obviously this is probably the most dangerous part of doing the job. I've got stuff all in my face, haven't I? What is that? Why am I white there? Weird. You probably don't want to see it close up like that. I don't know why I did that. Why does my face look so weird? Don't know. What you should do before is have, like I have here, trolley jack will go underneath here and lift up this end of the control arm, because you kind of got to do a little bit of like letting off the main jack. So I will remove the wheel from underneath the sill again, because I've got to lower it so that it gets low enough for my trolley jack. My trolley jack isn't actually going to go that high, and then you've got to kind of get the level right to then get the spring to a point, because I did it on the other side and you ended up with a spring that was compressed, but there still wasn't enough room to get the bottom of the spring compressor unit up and out. So guys, what I'm doing right now is lowering the car. Gonna raise that trolley jack. Regarding axle stands, be careful, because as you jack the car up and down, you'll need to adjust the stands. Now what I'm gonna do is get the spring compressor in the spring here. That goes in the top rung. That goes in the bottom rung, or at least the one that you can kind of get to. And then this tube here goes in between them all. So it will end up going like this, like that, like that. All right, go through like that. And then when you get it to the top, you actually move it, twist it, and it will end up sitting in the other grooves. Like that, twist it, hook it in. On the bottom, you don't need to worry, because it's too big to go through anyway. And then what you end up doing is twisting, and that will tighten. Here I'm heightening the main jack to increase room underneath for the compressor unit. Right, there we go. That isn't very flat, so I'm not happy with that. So what I'm going to do is, now that I've twisted the unit into the top, I'm going to just bring it down just so it's a bit flatter. Then you got to go underneath there, and then you get your 19mm on that and tighten up. It's a massive game of trolley jack up to raise the lower control arm and body jack down to allow enough compression on the spring to manoeuvre it out. Now I'm hoping that that is compressed enough that when I let go of this trolley jack, it should theoretically, there we go, come out a little bit. Let's lift that to get the trolley jack out. Oh. Theoretically, should be able to pull this one out now to the side. Be very, very careful. Very careful indeed. So guys, there is a spring compressed using that compressor. This is, for anyone that doesn't know, is a spring pad, and they have little knobs, should we call them, right there on the edge, and the number of knobs tells you how many millimeters the pads are. So obviously I'm pretty sure that if you go down to 1 knob, it means that you got less millimeters than when you got 3. So you can like heighten or lower the ride of your car using just the spring pads there. What taking the spring out has done has allowed us to then go to the back of those, take out these really, really eaten up rubber pieces on the lower control arm and get to those without having to worry about the spring being compressed. And what you need for these is a 22mm each side. You've got to hold one in place while you undo the other, because it's a long bolt that has a nut on the end and it's an eccentric bolt. What you're supposed to do is mark where that is. I don't know, I'll put up the picture. It's from Pelican Parts. I always use Pelican Parts just to give me a bit of extra help if I need it. Always well worth it. And what they do is they have a picture and they say, oh, make note of where the bolts are or something. I can't remember, I'll put it up. To me, it just didn't make sense. I wasn't sure what they were telling me to do. So yeah, this is your own discretion really. Do what you interpret it as, not necessarily what I do. Jack the car up more, just so I have more space to move these ratchets around the bolt. So one on each side. The bolt is on the inside, you see, and the nut is on the outside, on the right hand side as you look at it now. Put that there. Ah! Ah! That's it, you bastard. If anyone knows what it means by marking these units, marking these nuts or whatever, please do let me know in the comments, because I've got no idea. Oh, I'm going to cramp. Ow, in my leg. So, that's that bolt and then this big washer thing. And then this one just comes out. And then you should be able to remove this whole bit. I'm going to do the other one first before I do anything else. That's over there, look. Now it's to go for these two. I think this one's only 2 hands. Oh my God, I'm cracking my knee. That's how you do it. As you can see, this is why it's important to have that one really rested up against the control arm, because as you're undoing it, it's moving. It's just sat in there. And then that bolt's being pulled out. This one that came from the nut side lines up there. I made a mistake on the other side where I took the back pieces out that we just undid straight away, but what it meant was I couldn't get the ball joint off very easily. What I did realise when I was doing it earlier was that actually taking the tie rod off is easier, because then you can pull this whole unit and see what you're doing. I know it's a bit of extra work, but I do believe that it's the best thing to do. 16mm just to start it off. If you haven't already, I did do a video on this the other day and showed you how to do all this, which is just spanner in the bottom and the key in the top. That bolt is now off, and that wasn't even really that tightly in, because the other one I actually had to use a ball joint separator. I can get down to this just there, look, that needs to come off so we can get this ball joint off. Took this so I could get to it easier, but then you don't have anything to like roll against either. this bolt that is on the side here, on the inside, is doing exactly what the last one did, which was you could spin it and spin it and spin it, but it wouldn't come out. So what I'm going to use is just use the end of this one and just push it against it as I'm undoing it, and hopefully it will just kind of ease it out. Now I need to get the ball joint undone, and then we've got a free control arm. I managed to get the lower control arm off at the ball joint by hitting the edge of the old lower control arm with my metal pole. That's the one that's going to go on. Looks really, really good. This is the one that's just come off. Look at the state of that. Crap, isn't it? Well needed doing. And then there's the ball joint. Look at that. Murdered. It's going to have to go in here, and as you can see I have sprayed up black all of the... Oh, I've not done so well there. You can see it loads on the phone, but you can't see it that much in real life. So yeah, so that's a lot better. We're going to just go and put the lower control arms back on, and I'll just show how to do that. Exactly the same, just backwards. Right, this is the type of shit that me off when I'm working on the cars. That is where the bolt needs to go. That needs to be the other way around, so the bolt will slide into it. But it's not, it's the wrong way around. And I can't seem to. I can move it backwards and forwards and shit. Oh, sometimes. Oh, it's solid. But I can't turn it around. There's nothing to turn it around with. So how am I supposed to get it in? Right, now it's facing the right way. I literally just grabbed a spanner and then turn. Oh, it's just been a long day. That needs to then be pushed somehow up and into there and be fully lined up so I can get the bolt in. You can just see the head of this screw. There's a little bit of thread showing there. Someone's going to chuck this nut on the end, and I'm just going to try and tighten. I'll just end up using 19mm ratchet on each side and tighten it up. Right, next job now is get this tie rod back on. So pretty much same as what I showed you. I'm not going to show you the whole thing. Spanner that back on and then use the Allen key in the top to stop it from spinning. I put the compressor spring back in, jacked the trolley jack up and lowered the car to put pressure on the spring. And now that is back in. Right guys, and now we are on to the final thing, which is this anti-roll bar. But what I do need to do is lift this up again, the controller and the suspension, up to a certain point where I can then get this in. Oh, finally, oh my god. With the anti-roll bar back on, all you've got to do then is take out everything from underneath the car that you've had underneath the car, and then you can put the wheel back on and let the car down. And then when the car is on the ground, you can then do everything up, all the bolts, etc., to the torque settings that are specified for the car that you have. I hope this video really helped you out, and to be honest, I had a few moments where I was like, oh my god, I just want this job done, because the first side that I did, which was before I made the video, it took about 2 hours, like as a maximum, and that was the first time I'd ever done it, so I was really happy with the progress. And then the second one came along and it was considerably a lot more time. time because I had issue after issue with bolts that wouldn't come undone and all these other things, and it was just like, oh my god, but we did get there in the end. But it's done now, so I don't have to worry about that for a long time, so hopefully that will last as long as I need it to. Please do hit the like button if it helped you out. I really hope that it did. If you need any help, put it in the comments below and I'll try and help you as much as possible. And please do hit the subscribe button for more content to do with the Mercedes and other cars. And have a great week. See you later on.